What is up, everyone? My name is Alex, aka Doer. You are back with Doers Take Breaks, where we invite a guest, talk all things MMA, talk collectibles as well. And today I have the pleasure of sitting down with Evan from Bentley Breaks, also known for being one of the hosts on the Chicken One of One channel, where you hear that beautiful, immaculate voice of his. Evan, how are you, my guy?
Alex, I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for making time to be here. I know you're a busy man. We'll probably see you on Whatnot a little bit later. We'll make sure to plug all the channels here as well. But look, I want to jump into how you got into MMA. But before we do that, I want to ask you a few questions that I think are going to give folks a preview into your mind of how you see the sport today. And the segment is going to be called Underrated, Properly Rated, or Overrated. And I'm going to shoot out a few names. It'll be quite a few. Don't think too much on it. Just first thing that pops to mind, whether you think they're overrated, properly rated, or underrated.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Sean O'Malley,
Properly rated.
Henry Cejudo,
Overrated.
Peter Yan,
Underrated.
Dominic Cruz,
Underrated.
Ilya Topuria,
Properly rated.
Alex Volkanovski.
Under, for sure. That was the number one guy I thought of for underrated. I know he just lost, but okay.
Max Holloway.
Ooh. Overrated. No, I'm a Justin Gaethje fan, so that's gonna ruffle some feathers. Max is a legend. He's properly rated. I just had to mess with people.
Islam Makhachev.
Oh, I would say he's underrated, actually.
Interesting. That's been a hit or miss on folks. Interesting. All right. Arman Tsarukyan.
Underrated.
Leon Edwards.
Oh, man. I think he's a little overrated, but I still like the guy.
Shavkat.
Man, I would say he's properly rated.
JDM.
JDM has been underrated, and now people are appreciating him.
Now they're waking up to him, huh?
Yep.
Ian Gary.
Oh, man. The antics outside of fighting right now is killing me, but I would still say underrated. I think he's going to be better than people think.
Sean Strickland.
Properly rated.
Paulo Costa.
I would say properly rated.
Khamzat Chimaev.
That guy's going to be a champion someday, man. People don't want to say it, but he's underrated. People are they like to hate on him.
Yeah. Alex Pereira.
Properly rated.
Jamal Hill.
Underrated.
All right, and final one, Tom Aspinall.
I'd say Tom is properly rated.
I like it. All right, well, let's jump into it. So I want to know, and we're going to dig into a lot of this MMA topic because you have a unique position in this hobby itself. But before we get into like the cards of things, what got you to be so passionate about the sport?
So one of the early stories of how I kind of got into MMA was really just from my cousins. I have all older cousins, like 10, 15 years older. And when I was, 7 years old, I just remember sitting in the living room during the holidays, and it was Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz, UFC 47. Chuck, scored the TKO in that fight, and big win. Everyone was going crazy. I just remember like how passionate everyone was, and I had no clue what was even going on. But man, I just realized that fighting is an exhilarating thing to watch at a young age, and then it became, some of these other figures that took over, like McGregor, Jose Aldo, all those guys that kind of are pioneers considered now. But they really made the sport for what it is. So that was really what got me into it. And then I didn't actually collect cards until I was an adult after 2020. So the whole card thing was kind of actually just a surprise.
It feels like that's most people's, right? Like they definitely fell in love with the sport, but it was years after when you even realized like, hey, this is a sport and there's probably cards for it as well.
Absolutely. No, if I could tell my younger self something, I would say when I was, my first year of college baseball, hey, buy some 2017 Topps Chrome, just stash it away. But no, yeah, it's awesome. I think that's a part of what keeps me engaged now. And I'm trying not to think about Justin Gaethje ever retiring though, because sooner than later it'll happen, and then I'm
It'll
gonna
be
have
a
to figure
sad
out.
day
Yeah, I'm
at
gonna have to
the
figure out
Bentley
what I'm gonna
household.
collect. Yep.
So tell me, Chuck Liddell was one of the earliest fights you remember. Who was probably one of the earliest fighters that you could recall being like, I'm a fan of this guy, and starting to track that career of theirs?
So I'm from the Northwest, and I remember Chael Sonnen was just a huge name because the man's from Oregon. I grew up in Eugene, so it wasn't too far away. But now I live, farther up north in Washington. But yeah, Uncle Chael, I'd say he's probably one of the earlier fighters that I remember hearing a lot of, hype about, especially when he almost knocked off Anderson Silva that
How
in
did
that
you
first.
feel about it? Let's talk about that. How did you feel about that fight?
Oh my gosh, man! Talk about when Yuri Prohaska beat Glover Teixeira, kind of in that last minute of the fifth round of that title fight.
Hmm.
I mean, this was even. I think this was even closer than that. It was
Correct.
he was 30, less than a minute away
Yeah.
from defeating. At the time he was the GOAT, and I still consider Silva, when you look at the full run and everything, one of the greatest ever. So I feel bad for him, but at the same time, at least he's he's one of those guys that people look back at and say what could have been, because he was 1 minute
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, he's doing well still, and I mean, he ended up becoming really good friends with Silva, which is kind of funny just
Yeah.
because of how that was going down. But I remember watching that fight, and I was thinking, man, this is gonna be my Lakers Celtics like experience here, where the Celtics beat them in I think it was game 6 that first year, and just completely destroyed them by like 40 points. Like Chell was doing that, he was
Yep.
just taking it from Silva. But it was one of those things where by that point in watching MMA, I knew that anything could happen. I didn't think that would happen, but I was like, anything could happen. So when that last like submission went up there, and he tapped, but it was a little bit controversial. I was just like, there, it's done. I was celebrating, but now looking back and being a fan of Chael and what he's been able to do outside of the octagon too, the voice that he's created, the brand. I do feel bad for him because I don't know if you saw this, but he had a interview at a press conference where he spoke about how like he wanted to get that title. I think it was for his dad. He like promised his dad that he would become champ. So you hear that and you're like, oh, it's tugging at your heart,
And that's why I think MMA is so beautiful. It is don't get me wrong, it'll break your heart, especially if you do follow fighters closely and you root for them. But at the same time, I've met so many people that are loyal through and through for their fighters or the guys that they root for.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I like to preach, is like, it is kind of almost unrealistic to expect guys to go undefeated, and that's tough.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the world we're living in now, man. It's almost like perfection is the prize. So
Yeah, and that's what people want to see, right? Because it could be or Mayweather and things like that. But yeah, I think luckily you only have very few of those. John Jones would even be there, because most people don't count that one loss, right?
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know that plays as much of a factor. I don't think I consider Jones a GOAT because I consider him undefeated. It's more because of the body of work, the bodies he put in the closet, like
Yep.
he's just insane. But to your point, yeah, a lot of people hang on to that zero a bit too heavy.
Yeah. And for me, moving forward, when I watch young guys fight, I just want, like, it's always great to see who they go up against, like who's going to be kind of that stepping stone or that next step they take towards actually, going on a title run or kind of paving their way. That's why I'm not going to lie, Dustin Poirier, after seeing what he did against Benoit, and
Yeah,
just kind of him taking the risk like that, if he would have lost, who knows what he would have done. But he kind of manned up and said, let's do this. So the more fighters put themselves in harm's way or take fights that maybe are a little risky, I can't help but root for him, because he had everything to lose.
yeah, he was fighting in the pocket, and I was so happy. I mean, everybody in the community was rooting for him to win, and the fact that he ended it that way. One thing I will say, I was shocked to hear, like, just because you think of someone like DP, he has so many accolades, right? Just so many accolades that he can, outside of the UFC as well, right? That he can look at, and to hear him speak to Area and talk about how after losing to Justin. He was in a very, very depressed state. He thought about like all the way up to like committing suicide. All right, he didn't vocalize that, but he basically said that, right?
Right.
He didn't hide from that. It was shocking to me, but it kind of just magnified to me how like this is more than just a sport for these guys, right? Like this is their identity, and you don't want to see that, but I think it has to somewhat become their identity in order to continue to perform at that elite level for such a long time. But
Yeah.
it was just, yeah, I felt bad for him to hear that, but then I was so happy that he got the W.
Yeah. Oh, that breaks my heart hearing that. And then anybody out there who's going through tough times, just know, it's there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. There's always going to be tough times, and hearing about that with Dustin, also Volkanovski talked about it.
Yeah, yeah,
It's I almost it kind of breaks my heart because these guys really, there's a lot of weight on them, and there is a lot of pressure because it's just them versus whoever they fight. There's no one in there to save them. So it's a part of the sport that is a little dark, but I think as long as they don't, as long as they realize there's life after fighting too. I mean, he's gonna have great things to look forward
yeah,
to after he's done. I hope he does get the next title shot. I know, and that hurts a little bit saying it, but I really do hope he gets Islam next because you got to go with the hot hand and you got to go with whoever's ready. Like they shouldn't be pushing these fights out,
yeah.
half a year just because they want to get a matchup. So
I hear you. I hear you. Let me know what your earliest memory of Justin Gaethje was that got you hooked. Were you hooked right away, or did something happen along the way that you're like, this is the guy that I want to PC? Because for folks that don't know, this guy happens to collect a little bit of Justin Gaethje.
it's a little bit of an addiction. No, I'm joking. We're all friends here. I really do remember the Tony Ferguson fight like vividly. Just watching that, I actually was watching it with my father-in-law, and he's a big MMA guy, and we were sitting there, and I'm like before the fight, I'm just thinking to myself, even if Justin loses, like just don't get knocked out or just don't get too beat up. You know what I mean? It was kind of almost a preconceived thought because Tony at the time was, he hadn't really lost in a long time. He was
Mm-hmm.
supposed to get the shot with Khabib. So, anyways, I remember that fight like it was yesterday. Watching it, didn't bet on it or anything. Just was watching, and I couldn't sit down. It was just crazy, and there was nobody there because that was that was
Pandemic time.
yep, that was the whole nobody, no fans, no nothing. So you could
Mm-hmm.
hear all the punches. It was a huge upset, and I think it kind of shook up lightweight for as we know it. I mean, that was kind of the beginning of Justin's, really when I consider his career starting for UFC. Obviously, he had won a title before he came to the UFC, but that was his moment where he showed he belonged. So it
That
was
was a
pretty
big
special.
moment because he
Yeah.
changed Tony's career. I remember that fight, way too well because Tony's a client. He's part of Vayner Sports, so that hurts just because he's never been the same. And on that front too, though, after what it was after the first round, Justin got dropped to his knee,
Yeah,
right? And
bad.
so it's one of those where I'm like, what would have happened? If had there been a little bit more time, that could have just completely shooken up the way the next 5 years go.
Yeah, because Tony would have fought Habib instead of Justin there. I that is one thing I sorry to kind of sidetrack here, but
Oh,
I
you're
I
good.
think I think for me for MMA, I am kind of wondering if they're giving some of these guys too long a leashes and as far as
Mm.
like extending their careers too long. And it's not that I want to see Tony Ferguson be done. I just don't want to see him lose because I mean, again, he did so much for the sport. He was such a great fighter, and he still is a good fighter. It's just that division is stacked. So you
I
look
feel
at
like, yeah, go for it. Keep going.
well, you just look at some of those losses in a row, and I
Hmm.
mean, even Charles, people were giving him a hard time at the time for Charles, and that's before DeBronx went on his crazy run. And
Yeah.
then obviously the Michael Chandler thing, but that guy has a chance in any fight as long as, especially if it's in the first round or so. But yeah, sorry, where I was just piggybacking off of that is I'm kind of scared that MMA is turning into either guys almost feel like they have to keep going not even for a title, but just for a paycheck? Or also is it, they just can't let go, and that's hard.
I think it's a combination for sure. Yeah. So I was going to add that I think at this point, having watched the sport as long as I have, it's almost an assumption that I have going into any fighter that I like, that most of them aren't going to know when's the right time to hang it up, because there's always the next name to put on your belt, right? To be able to take out. And so like it's Silva, right? Silva wasn't he got beat at a time where he was still in his prime, but after suffering the injury and after losing the first time, then suffering the injury, maybe one more go around for Chris Weidman to lose in a way where like you either actually lose by decision or by knockout, but not by being a clown in there or by breaking your foot, maybe. But yeah, after that, it just seemed like the fights he was taking were like I was enjoying them because I was a fan, but I knew that the right thing was like, dude, your body of work speaks for itself. You don't have to be here no more.
Right.
Like hang it up. And there's just so many instances of that where I don't know. I think most fighters that have been doing it for a certain amount of time do it because they absolutely love it that much. Like Donald Cerrone, right? Another one. He doesn't need the money. He's someone that he's well established, does his own things outside as well. He's just someone that loves to get in there and compete. But there also are the ones that don't have enough money, and so they're absolutely doing it for that reason.
Yeah,
So
no, that's tough. I hope they do figure that out. I mean, the UFC's growing so much. I know Dana does take care of, a decent chunk of the roster. It's just it's a hard sport to, you know, try to prolong a career, especially if you don't have momentum and if you're in a deep weight class. So I'm hoping the best for everybody, man. I try not to hate on anyone because I know that they're really fighting for their lives. So
yeah,
it's all respect in the world. I will say Volkanovski, I do think that he should really see this through. I don't think he should retire. People are saying, since he lost to Ilya, just be happy that you had such a long run. I think he needs to kind of get some closure and just make sure either he can beat him or
yeah,
Ilya's kind of taken over for featherweight. So
yeah. I would love if they give him the rematch in Spain. I and Dana sounds like he's open to it, which I'm a little surprised of just because of how Volk lost. But if he gives it to him, great, because he'll get his chance to redeem himself. But if after that, like he at that point, I think he's already past 35.
yeah.
If they fight in Spain and then he tries to come back. So at that point, he should hang it up, right? Like Max
Yeah.
Holloway is getting up there as well. DP, he's getting up there as well, right? Justin Gaethje getting up there as well. So
I know. It's
we're gonna
hard.
get this new wave of youngins that start to become our new favorites.
I think Ilya versus Max would be a good fight. That's why part of this 300 thing is a little confusing. But if there's anything that people will remember about Holloway and Gaethje, it's that they're showmen. Like those guys will go out there, they don't care who they're fighting. Like they're gonna just
Yeah.
put on a show. I wonder if it really is going to be them standing toe to toe in the middle, just going at it, or if it's going to be a little bit more strategic with what's on the line for both of them.
More technical. Yeah, yeah, we'll
Yeah,
get there. We'll get there.
yeah.
But so I'm gonna pull us back. So Justin Gaethje, you watch him against Tony. That's a pivotal moment in your, following of his career. How did you feel when he went up against Khabib?
So that was a tough one. Luckily, like it's not like he got sliced open or anything. He did go to sleep, getting choked out. That was a tough one. I had high hopes because it's just like when people fought Floyd Mayweather in a way, not
Yeah,
relating Habib and Floyd, but whenever there's an undefeated record, you're always like, what if the guy that I'm rooting for, knocks him
yeah. What if
off?
he could
Like
do it? Yeah, what
so.
if he could do it?
It was short lived. I think it went like barely into the second round, but I think that was a good learning experience for Justin. If he wants to be lightweight champion, he's going to have to fight another Dagestani guy, and it's going
Yeah,
to
get
be
it done.
Habib's protege. So we'll see. We'll see if he can maybe get a little vengeance with that. I think that could be a little. That could be a little story there if he ends up knocking off Islam, who is Habib's,
Yeah,
kind of heir. So
just try to get Khabib back. Is that where you're going?
I don't know, man. I don't want to create narratives here, but I think that could be a good little backstory, especially if Habib's in the corner. So
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. So I heard a fun narrative. I think it's good to plug here that if Max were to win, he has the BMF title now. And if DP were to get the fight against Islam and beats Islam, then now you have a trilogy set up for both belts on the line, right? Where DP gets a chance at the BMF again, and Max gets a chance at that belt again, and like it's a trilogy. When I heard that, I was like, "Holy shit! That would be incredible if that happened." Now, a lot of things have to go right and wrong, for it to
Yeah.
align that perfectly. But because it's not easy to beat Islam.
Nah, when that Volkanovski first fight, I did think that Volk won, and
Yeah,
that's completely subjective. Again, the scoring for MMA is kind
yeah,
of funky.
yeah. But
Um,
that's another one. Most people feel that way, but it's just
yeah,
like the what if, like, so, well, you can't do anything about it.
yeah. I would say, you know, Islam, I know his first few title, well, it really was title defenses.
Hmm.
His first few were against Volk. I think that's huge to have on his resume because Volk really is, in my opinion, the go-to featherweight. If he would have beat Ilya, he could have just retired at the mountaintop right then and there. But now he's got, something to push him back to it. Um, I'll be rooting for Volk, even though I do like some of these young guys that are starting to, I mean, think about it. We're getting new champions more frequently now than
Yeah,
before. And
the age
no,
factor. It's at
if
35.
yeah, I know. If Holloway ends up winning though, and Dustin does beat Islam, I could totally see that fight just because there is a history there. And Max, if he beats Justin, I think he deserves any shot he wants, really, whether that's Ilya or if Dustin ends up knocking off Islam. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, it creates options for him. But you did, I would say, claim a goat in the featherweight division that I wanna just dig into a little bit. So you
Okay.
said you said Volk, in your opinion, is the goat of featherweight.
Uh
So I
huh.
want to ask who comes at number two and who comes at number three?
Okay. So wow. Well, because again, I know Jose Aldo was, uh, like he was kind of a mixture of bantam and feather, but obviously, like Jose Aldo has to be up there. And then for other featherweights, oh man,
Well, you kind of answered it there. You could stop at two. I was gonna say Jose Aldo and Max Holloway, right?
okay,
Just given their body of work. But um, I have Jose Aldo at number one
okay,
because of his run over the course of years that he did that, his winning streak across multiple organizations, and the names that he took out, and despite losing in what some could argue others would not be able to come back from, yeah, and losing to Connor the way he did, to
right,
come back and be able to get the belt again and still look pretty dominant against some of the top tier talent there. It's hard to put Volk there because even though Volk did beat Jose Aldo, it's not like it was like a knockout, right? It was
right,
it was a close fight. Judges could have got it the other way, that night. So
yeah,
so that's where I'm like, I don't know that I put him at the GOAT number one status there. Maybe
right.
at two, ahead of Max because he has those three wins against him. But
Uh-huh.
that's just what I wanted to put out there and get
No,
your
yeah,
thoughts.
and that's the thing I love about talking about MMA because it's true. Like you really do think about it. If he does beat Connor in that fight, I mean,
Oh
again,
shit. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
just have to think about kind of those what ifs. I know he didn't, but like you said, there was so much time where he was dominant and just cleaning out the division. There gets to be a certain point where when guys start lapping people, we have to kind of take it into consideration. I think Usman, um, gosh, we keep forgetting about him too. If he beats Leon
So
Edwards in the
good.
second fight, I mean, he's won. I think he would have tied Anderson Silva's
Wild
streak.
how the narrative changes so quickly, huh?
Gosh, so this is a sport of inches, just like anything else, and it's
Yeah.
like one more win or one more title defense. It completely changes the picture, but that's why you have to respect people that get the belt. I mean, collecting a guy who
Correct.
hasn't won an undisputed belt. I mean, if he wins one, that would mean the world. And
Hmm.
some of these guys have won it and defended it for 5+ years. I mean,
Yeah.
it's incredible.
Yeah. It takes a lot of work for sure. Tell me, how cards come into play at what point, and then also depending on that, if you want to also start touching on, where the breaking came into play and how you found yourself being one of the hosts for Chicken 101.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, a lot of guys will probably talk about pandemic or just like the 2020 times where we're all at home and we didn't really know what to do with ourselves because we weren't leaving the house much. That's actually when we got our dog Bentley, so it kind of worked out great. I was like, if I ever do cards, what am I gonna name my thing after? And it's Bentley. So he's behind me over here, so I could show him to you maybe at
We
the
got it.
end.
We got to show him. We got to show him
Yeah.
now. Let's
Okay,
see.
here. So here
Let's
he
take a
is,
look.
guys. Bentley, come here.
The Bentley, responsible for the channel here. Hey, Bentley.
He's like, what's up, guys? All right, there he is. So we got him in, like right before 2020, and so he, basically, I was on Whatnot, and I was kind of looking. I was always a baseball guy before, so I was mainly getting into other sports, but I saw a couple MMA streams, so I was like, what the heck? Let's go check this out. I randomly got into Chicken's stream one night, and I was like, okay, this looks kind of fun. They were doing 2021 Chronicles T-Mall, which they never even made a second year of that. It's just it was a 1 year thing. And at the time it was kind of slow in the room. So we were doing a hit draft actually of just a little tiny box of T-Mall. Basically it was like $40 a spot, and it was me and 3 other guys, and we all got 2 spots. So you were guaranteed a card for each spot you got. Well, we ended up hitting a Hamza Gold Asia rated rookie, and at the time that was a massive card.
Yeah.
And the 3 of us actually decided to split it. Instead of one of us like winning it, we're like, what if we all just own this card together and see where this goes,
see where the profits come in.
Yeah, and that was again the time when sports cards were going nuts. Well, Chicken facilitated everything. He made sure we all we signed some paperwork. We obviously all had an agreement. We graded the card together, and then we all kind of just had our piece of it. And it was something that brought us kind of together, and it showed me and some of these other guys that this guy this isn't just a regular breaker. Like, this isn't just a guy who's doing this for money or anything. Like, he really cares about the people that walk in there, and we call it the Coop Group.
Coop Group, I like it.
Yep, the Coop Group,
baby.
Bok. So Chicken really he was kind of the big igniter to my passion and just interest in sports cards for UFC. I obviously got into a bunch of breaks and stuff in the following months. Just loved hanging out. And then it got to the point where I was like, man, Whatnot is such a great platform. And it was in the early stages. Like, I'd love to stream on this. That was a time when it was hard to get approved to sell. And, it was kind of early stages. But where I'm going at with this is Chicken got me into it. I still do it. And I love working with Chicken. And we're basically at the point now where we're continuing to grow now that we switched from Panini to Topps.
Yep.
We're just going to see how big Fanatics can turn this into. But no, I love working with him and for him. He's a great person, and our team is solid. We're
how big is the team? Yeah, how big is the team?
We have 4 different breakers other than Chicken, and we call him OG Chicken because people are like, hey, is this Chicken? And we're like, no, this is Bentley Breaks. Or we have King Steels. He's also known as Jason. We have his name's Matthew, and then we have Roll. I'm spacing on what Roll's first name is, but we all just call each other by our usernames half the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, our team is great. Lot of experience, and then also just we love to learn from each other because in this space there's always things to learn, good and bad, and we just want to make sure we treat the people that walk into the channel properly. We take care of them, we have fun, and we just make sure to connect because there are some crazy parts of that app, and we just try to make sure that we can set an example and have fun with it. So
I love it. So I'm gonna be an advocate and be able to give feedback on the customer service. And then after I do that, I want you to also just tell me any crazy stories or some memorable stream of something you guys hit as well. But where I'm going with mine is when Immaculate 2023 came out, I bought into it, and my man here, Evan, pulled. So I got the entire box, and he pulled a dual auto. Sean O'Malley and Peter Yan. And so then in that too, there was a Juliana Pena, one of three or three of three in general. And when he shipped it out, everything got to me except the Juliana Pena. And I was like, oh, damn, I think it probably got mixed up and got put into somebody else's stash. Message these guys within a few days. They figured out where it went. Talk about the community being, honest and just all about community. They reached out to the right person. He was like, "Yep, I have it. Got it shipped over to me a few days later. Got it taken care of. Not a problem." So kudos to your team for being able to work that quickly through it. And that's where, to me, it also was like that seal of approval.
Absolutely. I mean, no, I appreciate that. And, when it comes to mistakes, because that's the thing is,
It could happen, right?
oh,
Because you're ripping through so much.
it is. And half of the time, you know, whenever something, if there is ever something that goes wrong, like let's say something, someone's like, hey, I didn't get this. We want to make sure we replace it with either that same card, like the exact same card, or something better. But it's very rare it happens. But no, I mean, those are situations, like you said, where we can go above and beyond, get it fixed. And if you come back, that almost is like it's something that makes me feel good, because it shows that you guys trust us, even if we make a mistake, and I would say, that's a part of whatnot that actually has been a little crazy. When you talk about stories, like there's always different stuff. We really don't like to deal with any drama or anything, but I'd say I was trying to think, when you ask crazy story, I would probably say some of these release nights. I'll do a stream and we'll think it's going to be a couple hours, maybe three, because I think 3-4 hours is a pretty long stream.
Yeah.
There was one night where it was actually Optic. It was the first year of Optic, where they had Voices of the Octagon and everything. And I streamed from 8 p.m. until 6 a.m. the next day. So, and it was because we just had so much product and people were ripping it. And I thought in the early morning time it was going to stop, but we just kept going. And then, I'm not going to lie to you, there was one card that we hit during that stream that actually got me hooked on one other PC I have. It's Bruce Buffer. We hit the gold vinyl Bruce Buffer. So that was kind of one too, where I was like, okay, there's cards in here that are not just fighters, that are collectible too.
Yeah, those are fun.
Yeah,
I want to
absolutely.
collect the nice Dana, Bruce, the executive ones. Those are nice. I do want to add that to the collection. I just haven't yet.
Yeah, they need to get Joe Rogan in there again. Well, I think he has like a few cards too, but yeah, I think they need to get the whole team. I mean, people love collecting, obviously, the fighters, but there's a whole bunch of other members that play a big role in this whole machine of the UFC. And
Yeah.
I just don't know who's going to replace some of these guys, but I just, maybe that's stuff that we don't even think about. We just enjoy them while we have them.
Yeah. And tell me about OG Chicken. So, have you met him in person?
So you're gonna laugh. I've worked for him for 2 years. I have not met him in person. I've seen him. So
I
he is.
figured there was a chance of it. I figured there was a chance of like, unless there was a card show to like meet up at for some reason. It's
Yeah.
probably hard to coordinate
No,
that.
no. He's the guy that give you the shirt off his back. He's a very good leader. I mean, the guy definitely. I would say, like, I'd wear a bullet for him. Type of guy though, that he just runs a good ship, and we have all of our product accounted for. Like, we just have everything kind of ready to go. So more than anything, he just errs on the side of us being prepared, always
Mhm.
being able to kind of pivot, or if something's not working that night, if people aren't doing random weight class, maybe they want to do pack outs, or if they want to, figure out different ways to open cards up. For those of you that don't know, some of the stuff that I'm referring to, it's just there's different ways to open up hobby boxes that makes it affordable, and also that we get
Yeah.
to kind of dive into it and see what hits there are. But no, Chicken. I really want to do a fight night. Hopefully, we're all of us from the Coop Group can meet up and go to one of the fights. UFC 300 would have been a little bit too crazy, I think, just because it's going to be, it's going to be a big one, man.
I
We got,
assumed it was the whole crew. So you had
yeah.
told me offline that you're going to UFC 300, and we can quickly touch on that here. But I assumed it was going to be the Coop Group, but it's not. So who's going?
Yeah, no, and a few of these guys, like, so with the five of us, so I'm married. I don't have any kids yet. We don't have kids
Hmm.
yet, but We do have Bentley. No, I'm joking. But
Hey, you got a fur baby.
yeah, everyone else in the Coop group, they for the most part they have young kids, and so I totally get it. Like you don't want to. It's hard to get everybody in the same spot, and especially. I mean, I think Bud just had his wife had a baby like less than 3 months ago. So, just it's going to be hard to do it, but I know we will at some point. 300 would have been a special one just because there's those century mark events are few and far between. I think it's like every 10 years or a little bit less.
Yeah.
But hey, man, never say never. I think we'll do it. I think at some point, hopefully we'll do it.
That's awesome. So before we jump into 300, back to OG, I definitely want to interact more with him. What I found is every time I go on Whatnot, if you're on, I would go on there just because I like I just found that vibe in that community. I really like the way you run the ship there, but I also like Jason as well. But I can't tell you that I've been on too many where it's actually OG Chicken. Does he not do any at this point, or is it like a lot less?
Yeah, so it is a lot less, and it's not
Yeah.
that he doesn't want to do it. He's just a busy man.
Yeah, I believe
It's
you.
funny. He's busy's good, but he's definitely got things going on. So he'll usually do release nights, and then he'll
Okay.
also do he'll mix in a few streams here and there. I think even today he was on like the early morning. I was
Okay.
sleeping because I went late last night. But yeah, Chicken he still loves to do the breaks, but he's kind of he's trained us to do it as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
people always ask where he is, and it's kind of like that's kind of like the nice part about him is we're like, well, he'll be on this time, and then they really make sure they're on there.
Yeah, people don't know what he looks like. He literally lives true to the name of the channel. He wears a chicken hat or mask, if you want to call it. So
Yep.
he was the one that posted that recent IG video, right, where he's like on a chair wearing like a wrestling outfit or
Oh
something.
yeah, the singlet. Yep.
Yeah.
He's actually he's getting into shape, man. He looks good, and so no, he loves the singlet. That's usually for release nights. He'll make those good videos, but his content is just funny. It gets people involved. That's what I love about it. Is even though I mean he usually will show something to us before he posts it or whatever, but
Yeah.
he just knows how to make us laugh, man. We just have a fun time, and that's why I think we've all stuck around and we want to continue to do it. It's just he makes it enjoyable.
That's awesome. I'm gonna, that's gonna be one of the goals to bring him on the show as well. I don't know
Hey,
that we can have him on in a mask for like an hour and a half because he'll probably pass out on us. but I'd love to feature him, so we can talk about that offline.
oh yeah, absolutely. And more than anything, he is a huge part of the UFC card community. He cares about it. So I think if you reach out, he'd be open to for sure talking. And
Yeah.
he loves to be able to kind of tell some of the background himself. I feel like I'm not even doing it justice. Chicken's been been a huge part of the UFC card community, and I think he'll continue to be.
I love it. All right, let's pivot to UFC 300, the card.
Okay.
So we know you're going to be there. Are you going to stay around for a few extra days for the event, or are you just coming into the event and then going back home? What's the game plan?
So Jason and I will be going King Steels. So definitely give him a hard time about that. But yeah, we'll be going. I get in Wednesday night of
Okay.
fight week, so we'll
Yeah,
be able to go to maybe some of the press conference and the weigh-ins,
that's
and
always
then
fun.
those can get crazy. Sometimes it's almost a little too much, but you know what? Like I'm all for it. Like especially when the guys are just going at it. But um, I think we're gonna try to do all the festivities we can, and then when it comes to actual fight night, we're we're since both of us have fighters that are going to be fighting there. Jason's a huge Zhang Wei Li collector. I'm a Gaethje guy, so I think we're both going to be sweating bullets, but we're just going to hopefully be good luck charms for both of them. So we're excited.
Fingers crossed. I'm gonna be thinking about you now. And when Wei Lee's fighting and when Gaethje's fighting.
Yeah, and there's a lot. I will say this: UFC 300. I think it's going to be just such a huge pay per view because not only is it the main card, all the fights below it are crazy. Um, there's going to be a lot of matchups that get dictated from just one single night. So I'm excited for it. I really hope that win or lose, Justin keeps going. But man, I can't help but think it's like a win kind of like a must-win situation.
All right, well, let's see. Let's get there. So we're gonna just cover the main card because there's a lot of good, I would say, dialogue that can come out just out of these 5 cards alone. So I'm looking at the first one: Bo Nickel versus Cody. Who do you got there, and what do you think about this? Because I hear a lot of people are upset that this is on the main card.
Yeah, I'm saying good for him. It's kind of like giving like a rookie call up to the big leagues, and
Hmm.
I think they definitely are expecting some fireworks out of him. So I think Bo's going to go with the mindset like I need to get a first minute stop if he can. Like he's going to go for it. I think
Get this done
now.
quick. Live up to the
Yeah,
moment.
he's got to be careful with that too, because sometimes when guys try to do too much, it like when Jeff Neal and Shavkat fought, that was a
Mm-hmm.
war, and it felt like Shavkat was letting Jeff hang around a little bit. You almost have to just put guys away because some of these veterans, the more you let them stick around, the more dangerous it gets.
Yeah, they get more exactly. Veterans get more dangerous the longer the fight goes because they might just have the extra gas tank,
Right.
required.
Right. No,
So
for sure. And oh gosh, speaking of gas tank again, these are just things that's like it's almost like PTSD a little bit. I'm hearing this and I'm just thinking, but
all right. So then you got Bo Nickel. I agree with that, and you can't help but root for Bo Nickel since he's also into the card, the card hobby as well. So got to root for our guy. Charles Oliveira versus Armin Sarukian. Who do you got here?
okay. I'm trying to think of how I'm gonna word this. So
And you can word it with your vote being one of your answers being with your heart, and the other answer being with what you think is practical and most likely.
no, yeah. The crazy thing is my heart and my mind tell me the same thing. I think
Oh, and we lost him.
can you hear
Hold
me? All
on.
right, sorry
Yeah,
about that.
yeah, you're good.
So but as far as this fight goes, I think Charles is going to win 100%. Like it's a mortal lock for me. Like if I were to bet on these, I would bet 100% on Charles Oliveira. Now, when it comes to another fight that I thought that way, and luckily it played out exactly how I thought, was Dustin against Benoit. Um,
Okay.
I did think that Dustin was going to definitely piece him up, and I know there was a wrestling part of it, but for some reason I couldn't help but just say, if you're going to bet on this, bet on Dustin. So in my opinion, I think Charles is going to win. I still think he's the same guy that went on that crazy run, and I know Islam stopped him, but I could see him restarting the full streak again. So Charles do
Yeah.
Bronx by sub. That's what I'm going to go with.
So my heart agrees with you. And it's my heart because if it doesn't happen, I don't know that he gets another title run that easily. Just at where he's at in his age as well. Armin Sarukian feels like the real deal to me already. And what I don't like about this matchup is in the last 2 fights that Charles was in, or at least I don't know if they were the last two, but for sure when he fought DP and for sure when he fought Justin, he got rocked and then he survived. And
Right.
that's my issue that he's older. And if he gets rocked and Armin can do that, he might not be able to recover from that.
Oh,
So that like that's why I'm nervous. I would want Charles to win. And if he wins, Armin he's so young that he can still, make up for it. And he still has a long career ahead of himself. But I just don't know. I don't know. So I'm a very 50-50 with this one.
yeah.
So you got Charles Oliveira. You think he does that with a submission. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's a tight fight. I don't think I need to ask who you think is going to win Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway. But do you think there's a way that Justin gets it done and only that way? Like if it goes 5 rounds, do you see Justin being able to win a
Oh
five
no,
round war?
there is definitely a possibility that he could lose. Because yeah, Max has fought everybody. I mean, Max
Mhm.
is when you talk about a 32-year-old with experience, I think he might be beyond his years when it comes to who he's fought. Volkanovski 3 times, Conor McGregor, he's fought Ortega, yeah, all those guys. I mean, he's
Yeah,
fought like Dustin Poirier. You know what I mean? It's been
twice. Yeah,
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 exactly. Like it's been to the point where I don't think Max is gonna be nervous to go out there and fight Justin. I think it's just a matter of how much damage both of them can take. And if it does go deep into it, I could see Max winning. So I think Justin has to be careful. Everyone
yeah.
always talks about like what they think the path of victory is. I think he has to kick those legs all night long if he's going to have a chance. And then, just inflict damage and try not to get cut open. I think Max Holloway, both ways, that guy either gets cut open or he'll cut people open. So I think Justin has to be really, really strategic on when they trade.
Yeah, as much as I wanted to be a war, then I know the repercussion of that to the rest of their already, little to go career. So that's the other challenge, that we might not truly get a winner out of this if it's a war and both of them are just not the same after this, right?
Right.
But I also don't want to see Max get laid out or Justin get laid out. So it's just a tough one to watch.
If there is a knockout on either side, I think it will be from something other than a punch, like a knee, an elbow, a kick, like a head kick, something crazy.
Ideally a TKO, so it's not too vicious. It's just stopped, by the ref. But we'll see. All right, Wei Li versus Yan. Who do you got in this?
Yeah, I think Zhang's just going to be really hard for any strawweights to knock off. I do see her winning. Now, people keep talking about with it being, a Chinese fighter against a Chinese fighter, like there's going to be a lot of eyes watching. This is a huge matchup for both these ladies. So I think Zhang's going to win. She's definitely heavily favored, but man, with those girl fights, you just never know. Sometimes with the bigger the underdog, it kind of is more enticing. So.
Yeah, I agree though. I'm going with Wei Li. Don't know how she gets it done, but I do feel she finds a way, whether that ends up being a quick night or just has to, pull it out in 5.
Absolutely. Yeah, she's got experience. Thug Rose is the only person apparently that can beat her, and she's in flyweight now, so I think Zhang has nothing to worry about.
I hear you. Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill. What do we think?
There's going to be a lot of money riding on this fight, not just from betting, but from these buybacks from Tops.
Yeah.
So people are going to be tuning in. I'm really excited to watch it. I think Jamal Hill has a little chip on his shoulder, and he's like, you know what? This guy has won the belt that I vacated. I think he wants to take what's his. Now, there's kind of two different thoughts of, how this fight's going to play out. I think Jamal Hill is going to win. People are going to laugh when they hear this, but I do think Jamal's going to win. The guy, every time I've thought he's going to lose, the guy just goes out there and sleeps somebody. So Sweet Dreams, I think he's going to be the buyback. And Poetan, he's a great fighter. What he's accomplished from middleweight and light heavyweight, I think is going to be talked about for a long time, but it's just tough to go up and beat all the guys who have been there doing it for a long period of time.
Yeah, I'm 50-50 with it, but I definitely am not. I feel like a lot of people are discounting Jamal Hill. Some have valid reasons. They're just concerned about the injury that he's coming back from, having not been so active. So that absolutely can play a role, like a big one, right?
100%.
But skill for skill, there's ways that he gets it done, and there's clearly ways that Alex gets it done. So that's why I'm like, if you're just going based off of Alex has been in there more consistently over the last 18 months, then yeah, absolutely, Alex has that edge. But Jamal, he this is a big platform, and I think he doesn't shy away from a big platform, right? He does pretty well. He's had high stake fights for his career so far. This is definitely elevated, but I think it'll be an exciting fight either way. And I think he still has a solid career ahead of him after this.
Well, if you had to pick one, who do you think is going to win that fight between?
I would lean with Alex because of him being in there more recently. He's more fresh, right? His last 3-4 fights have been at a big stage like this,
right?
So Jamal, it's like it just depends on how much he believes in Octagon rest or not,
Yeah, no, Achilles are tough injuries, man. So and with how much Alex has the kickboxing background, this could be just a short, couple leg kicks and who knows. But I'm just hoping that one is a full 5 rounds. Like both guys are like, I'm not going to say wobbling off the stool when they get up in the 5th, but I just want it to go the full distance if it can. Because these guys are just warriors. Like both of them, there's a lot on the line, and light heavyweight has a rich history. John Bones Jones kind of laid the foundation for what seems like the last 10 plus years. But yeah, we got to see what happens with these guys now. It's kind of like the new era.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for you to be there. That's going to be such a fun card to watch. It's a historic one. I know that for these bigger cards, they give away like cool things too for just entering, the venue. So I think you'll probably come home with like a T-shirt or a towel or something.
Oh, I would love it. A signed poster by everybody. No, I'm joking. So
No problem. Get to go into the Octagon as well.
yeah. Oh no, again, win or lose, whatever happens, I'm just going to be thankful to be there. And if anybody else, if you're going to be in at UFC 300, if you're part of, if you've been in the Chicken Channel or who knows, maybe you just want to meet up at some point. My Instagram is the same as this Bentley Breaks. Just shoot me a message. And yeah, Alex, I wish you were going because maybe we'd maybe have to open up some boxes there.
Yeah, well, I was wondering if you guys were planning on doing some of that over there. Doesn't sound like it's in the cards right now, but who knows? Maybe.
Yeah, it's just always nerve-wracking whenever we travel with product. It's just oh my gosh. So we try to keep it on the at home, but no, who knows? Maybe we'll think of something.
Let's pivot over to Doers Rumble and Rips, where we're gonna rip through some product now. It's a fun setup today because, of course, we have the same approach where we're gonna open up an Optic 2023 hobby box here. Justin Gaethje is the PC, so if anything Justin Gaethje comes out of here, my man Evan's keeping that. Everything else, he said, give it away to the fine community that we have here. But at the same time, he didn't want me to be the only one ripping through this product. So he wanted to be able to rip on his end too, just for the fun of it. So he's going to join in, and he has a 2024 Topps hobby box. So he's going to flip his camera. I'm going to flip mine, and we'll just rip at the same time. Let's do that.
Let's do it.
All right. And what we're going to do is we're just going to let the cards also create some dialogue for us as we do it. We'll call out the hits. Hopefully we get something big. Evan, I need you to pick which one of these three boxes we will be ripping through.
Let's go with number 2 because that's one of my favorite numbers. So number 2.
What's the backstory on number 2 being one of your favorite numbers?
I'm born on June 2nd, so I don't know. It's just a lucky number to me, I guess.
All right. What are you hoping to get out of your box?
Well, if there's any hit that we could have, I guess, if we could hit a rookie autograph, maybe of I don't know. Let's see a Diego Lopez.
Okay, that's a nice one.
So I'll kind of just shout out any big refractor hits I see, and then you do the same if you can. Just any prism hits. Just let me know what you see. And how does this look? Does it look all right on there?
Oh, that looks so good. Dan, you're already to one of them. You see, this is the expertise right here. I'm still setting up, and he's already getting going.
Oh, no, we're good. And Optic, I'm trying to remember. Is Optic, how many packed are in those boxes still?
20. How many are in yours?
Okay, so there's 12. So I think for every, I'll rip nice and slow here. But
I'll show all the hits. Don't worry. I'm going to go pretty quick just to be able to call out any of the hits. And any fighter that really pops out. But yeah, what do you think? What do you think so far of the 2024 Topps product? Are you a fan? Are you not really liking it overall? What's your take?
Well, as far as enticing me to buy it, there aren't a ton of inserts of Justin, which is great because if there were, I'd probably have to collect them. So no, I'm joking. I would say I love it. I wasn't sure at first. But after seeing, how the cards look, centering on them looks money most of the time. And with this product, the corners and edges are definitely something that I've noticed look like they're in pretty good condition. So when people grade these,
I think they'll be happy with the result.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
Nice. So while you were speaking, I just showed this one off. We have a out of 49 Corey Sandhagen.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
The Sandman. I think he's going to get a shot, hopefully, here in the next year with Sugar Sean. I know Marab's going to be next, but
that's what I'm hoping. Corey Sandhagen. He's also Vayner Sports.
There we go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the Dong song on the negative, and I'll of course review all the hits with you.
Yeah. Same here. All right.
What's your favorite set to collect? I mean, I know you're. We have an orange.
Ooh, let's check it out.
I'm gonna sweat that. We're gonna sweat it.
I like
Oh.
it. I like it. Let's see. My favorite set to collect. I'm a fan. I, I'm a fan of the sticker cards. So I like Select and I like the Immaculate, but I have enjoyed Optic from the fact that you have 20 packs to rip through.
Right.
It's just fun to have this much, and I don't know. I feel like you get a little bit more for your buck here.
Absolutely. No, Panini will be missed for some parts of it.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how this whole redemption process is going to play out. We're still
We
kind
have
of
an
wondering.
auto here. Let me see.
Come on.
Let me see. So that we have Mohammed Makayev, and let's see what our auto here is. We'll do it this way. It's a lightweight and it's blue. Let's go. Oh,
That's the
DP.
Let's
Not
go.
bad. Check
Nice.
that
I was
out.
going to say, if that was a Justin, that would have been hilarious.
That would have been funny. Yeah,
Hey,
DP.
whoever's getting that, remember, guys, title
That's
shot
not
in
a.
June. It's looking
Ooh,
like it.
wee. That's a nice one. What is this? It is 43 out of 99.
Love it.
Yeah, I like that. And I really like this new camera. It picks it up a lot better.
Right? There we go. I've
Yeah,
been seeing
playing
some
around
rookie
with it.
refractors in here. I'm trying to make sure I get all the names down correctly. It's always,
Talk to me about the rookies. I've been hearing just in passing that it's not like we have too many big names. At least not yet, right? They might become that. But what are your thoughts? Do we have any rookies that we're trying to chase that you're excited to get?
yeah, for 24, Diego Lopez is definitely a big one. This one right here,
Yeah.
Elvis Brenner for lightweight, he also is the great one. It's funny. He almost looks a little gray in his picture, but the guy he's a solid fighter. But no, there's definitely some other rookies. I need to brush up on it actually a little bit more too.
Okay.
Um, as far as female fighters go, I know there's a few that people have been getting excited over as well. But
Is
yeah,
Diego
no.
Lopez truly a rookie though? Why does that
Hey,
sound
there we
odd
go.
to me?
There,
Hey,
well, that's a $20 bill if he wins at UFC
there
300.
it is.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Some of these rookies, like you said, it's like how do you even classify it? I think what they're doing now is they're trying to base it off of when they really, when they really start fighting, like for more than a year in the UFC. I guess I don't know if it's actually a 365-day mark or if it's really just the first year that they fight in the UFC. But man,
Yeah,
some of
that
these
gets
guys,
awkward. So look, we got
but
a
hey,
Authority Auto,
there
Jason
we go.
Herzog. All right. We got our hits
Nice.
early. Hopefully that's not, I mean, that is our two autos there, so we'll see what else comes out of here.
There's gonna
That's
be
a
a gold.
first. Yeah, that's a
There's
first. For the most part, these always come out to the very end, somewhere in the
there's
middle.
there's gonna be a gold. Don't you worry.
All right. All right. You put that out into the universe, so let's see what
We have a
happens.
refractor auto here. Ooh, Dan Hooker. Okay, the
That's a nice
Hangman.
one. I wish he would win a bit more consistently, but I do like him. He's a solid, a fun fighter.
Yeah, his last fight, man, he broke. I think he broke his arm, and he's still figured out. Like, wait, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think Dan. Yeah, that fight against Jalen Turner, I think he won, but he broke his arm in it, so it's just not.
Hmm.
He takes damage, that's for sure.
Yeah, and
I
he likes
trust
to
him.
drink too. So it's like he's so young, but I think if he took just the whole sport a little bit more serious, I wonder if that would make the difference in like performance.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's that's why these Russian fighters, they're a different breed. These guys, they don't mess around, they don't party, they don't do any of that. They fight, and it's everything to them basically, besides their family.
That's right.
There
What do
we
you think
go.
of Umar? Are you a fan of Umar?
I'm sold on him. I think he's great. Although I couldn't believe he got dropped in that last fight.
Yeah, early, right? So it changed
Yeah.
his whole way of fighting. We got a base Justin Gaethje.
Hey, there we go.
There you go. Put that to the side.
Ooh, Alexa Grasso, the flyweight champion.
I like it. Someone that
She's
has me a little bit salty, surprisingly, because I'm a Bullet fan,
okay.
and I just don't understand how she has her number and has looked so good against her.
Right.
But props to her.
No, Grasso solid. Bullet's always going to be one of the best flyweights. It's just, man, talk about those girl fighters when they have momentum and they kind of go on those runs. This third fight will tell a lot. This could
Mm-hmm.
retire Shevchenko, or she could be right back at it. So, what happens though? I mean, I don't really know who else in flyweight. I think it's going to be Blanchfield. Blanchfield against whoever would be a good fight. All right, so here I'm going to rip this orange. I don't really know what to expect, but the autographs that we hit, it was a Alexa Grasso, and then the other one was who was the other one? Let me double check this.
Yes,
We'll
sir.
go
We
over
hit
that.
a numbered Volk here.
Oh yeah,
Dominators.
it was the Dan Hooker. Okay,
Dan Hooker. Okay.
numbered Volk. All right, let's go.
Yeah, we added 99. Not bad.
If I could hope for anyone on the back here, obviously Justin would be sweet, but yeah, if we could see, let's see Diego Lopez. Okay, so it's not Diego because this is horizontal. This is out of 25, light heavyweight. Ooh, Khalil Roundtree.
Okay, someone who has a promising 2024 after
That's
he
right.
beat what's his name? Anthony
Yeah,
Smith.
absolutely, man. He looked good. That was kind of scary actually when Smith went down. He could have punched him again, but he kind of held off, which I can respect because
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah,
that could have.
Khalil's letting his personality come out a little bit more, which is great to see because I think that's what people just need. That extra, who are you? Because we know you can knock people out, but just be a little bit more present on the mic, give us a little bit more insight to you, and I think he's going to start to fight up in the rankings and make a run.
Absolutely. I'm wondering, do you think the UFC, do you think they give them, a little bit because it seems like in other sports, if, baseball, football, basketball, um, it seems like it's a little bit more censored.
Look at that.
What's this?
This is
Oh,
a Patrick Sabatini out of
Black
39.
Black Velocity. Let's go.
Bring that up here to show it better.
Bok bok, baby.
Yeah. Bach, Bach, baby.
That's awesome, man. Here, you know, as far as that rookie class goes, Bo Nickel. I mean, him and Blanchfield. I know Piper lost, but there's some solid rookies in that class. This 24 class, we're gonna have to learn more about them because
Yeah, I need to do my homework on this 2024 class. Let's see. What do we
from
got?
this box,
Two more packs.
I was able to. I don't know if many other people saw it, but on the UFC website, they were doing boxes for $99 one night. I don't know if it was just one night or if it was for like a few days, but
Uh-huh.
I bought them on there. Originally, they canceled them, but then they ended up fulfilling the order. I got a call from a person from Fanatics, and he said, "Hey, man, I don't know why this got canceled. Here's $100 credit for some merch, and then we'll honor the price." I was like, "Wow!" So I'm blown away with Fanatics so far.
Fanatics is gonna do a lot of good for the hobby. Check that out. We
Hey,
got a
Fluffy, man,
Fluffy out of 79. That's
that's a
nice.
good box, man. People are
Yeah,
gonna
this is a
love
solid
these.
one. Giveies? I mean, come on, doesn't get any better.
It doesn't get any better.
And we got one more pack. Let's see. I think we've taken all the hits out, but we'll see.
Absolutely.
Want to guess a fighter that's going to be in here? Make it interesting.
I'm gonna guess it's gonna be Aaron Blanchfield.
All right, I'm going to guess that there's going to be, based on who we've hit in here, let's go with Juliana.
Okay, Pena.
Let's see. All right, the Sandman, Tai Tuivasa, Marvin Vittori, and Yuri.
Yuri. I'm excited to see that fight too. Both guys, Rakic and Yuri. It's kind of like a fight where they're going to show us what they're made of.
Yeah, but Rocket for the most part hasn't been all that exciting to watch, right?
Yeah, well, he came off the knee injury to.
Okay.
Yeah, he hurt his knee when he fought Jan Blachowicz last, and those are always tough. Tom Aspinall came back strong, but everybody's different.
Yeah. I mean, I hope Yuri gets that right because I like the way he approached the L against Alex, where even if it was a bit early, he was just like, "Hey, that's on me for being put in that position," Good stop by the ref. Like he saw it, not me. Like it is what it is. So that's never bad versus complaining about it.
Right. No. Hey, by the way, I think one thing I want to do, I want to pluck out all the rookie cards from here, and
Okay.
I want to give away all these rookie hits to the peeps.
Ooh,
So
Bach, guys,
let's
Bach, baby.
let's go.
I
So
like it.
let me see who else is in here because I know there was Val. Oh, here. So I'll flip it around one more time.
Yeah,
Might
yeah.
as
You
well.
do that, and then I'll do mine. I'll go over what we
Yeah.
hit in here.
So we'll go over this. So there was a Val Woodburn. There was, let's see here. Okay, there was a Gabriel Miranda. I think this is called magenta. It kind of looks like a red, but it's like a lighter red. There's two Val Woodburns
Hmm.
on the refractors. Let's see who else we got here. There was a negative of Mizuki. So that's four.
I'm a fan of the
Izzy.
negatives. Those are cool cards.
They are cool, man. Absolutely. So, yeah, guys, and then here, let me double check these ones. But yeah, I think we're gonna make sure all the rookie hits go out. These ones I can just give away to people when they get in on breaks, and if they don't hit,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we
That's a
always
good
like to
idea.
make sure that people don't just get base cards. We want to make sure that when they get into a break, we can't obviously always supply them with golds and everything like that, but we can always throw in a hit here and there where it makes mail day a little bit more enjoyable.
What is up, gang? Two simple rules to be entered into the giveaway. Rule number one, subscribe to the channel and comment on this video. And rule number two, follow Bentley Breaks and myself on IG. It's that simple. We're going to select 4 winners, and prizes are going to be the following. Prize number one, the Dustin Poirier to 99. Prize number 2, the Anthony Fluffy Hernandez to 79 and the Black Velocity Patrick Sabatini to 39. Prize number 3, Corey Sanhagen at 49, Jason Herzog auto, and the Alexander Volkanovski to 99. Finally, prize number 4 is going to be the Topps 2024 rookie hits from Evans Percy. Shout out again to Evan for being so generous, and good luck to everyone who enters.
All right, I'm gonna go over these hits. Let's see if I get good lighting. So we have our DP.
Oh man,
We have our Authority.
Herzog, yep.
And then we have our Fluffy, who looked great in his last fight.
Yeah, he did. But the people slept on him for a minute there, and
Oh,
now
yeah.
everyone's collecting him.
The Sandman. And then we have our Velocity here, which was out of 39. And this was Patrick Sabatini. Do you follow him at all?
I don't. I do
Can't say
know
I
he's
do.
still active. I know he's still fighting in the UFC. It's the fact that you just hit a or a pink velocity and a black velocity in the same box is pretty solid, by the way.
Yeah, is that rare?
Yeah, I would say for optic, it is pretty rare. Like you'll see one or the other in a box, but not every box. But to have both in there plus the Dustin auto, I mean that
And
was a
out
good
of the stash that I've been pulling these optics from, because I didn't get them from a full case, I just bought them in different quantities off of eBay or other places. I've already hit 3 black velocities in so far ripping probably 9 boxes. That's
Wow.
not bad.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's not bad at all.
not bad at all, right? I should be keeping some of these for myself.
I know. I was gonna
Yeah,
say, guys. Yeah, no. Alex is awesome and super generous. I mean, I'm happy to do this, and there we go. That's a hit. Even if it's a base card, I'll take it, Justin.
there it is. There it is. Awesome. Awesome. All right, cool. Well, so yeah, we'll plug those details. And so where I want to go now is beyond MMA. Who are you? Any other hobbies, passions? You mentioned that you do deliver, you said candy to Costco. So let us know about that. You're giving out candy here?
Yeah. So basically, if you guys ever need high chews or anything
I
like
like high
that,
cheese. Those are yummy.
yeah, I'll hook you up. I promise. My whole garage is full of samples, but basically, my job really, um, I'm more in C-store convenience right now, but our owner and the people who are higher up in our company, they deal directly with Costco. So that's just kind of my job. I'm in sales.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
So the
fun. I love
company
my
you work
boss.
for makes that candy?
No,
The
we're more of like a broker. So we kind of middleman the relationship between Morinaga America, which is High Shoe, and Costco corporate. We get them into Business Center also, but it's not just High Shoe; it's other candy lines too. We
Okay.
do have a few other snack brands too. I'm sure you've had Old Trapper beef jerky, stuff like that. So
I probably have. I just don't know it by the name. Like I just know it's
yeah,
beef jerky.
I'm gonna put together a care package for you for sure. But
I
no,
love it.
it's been a fun. The cool thing about my job is I do get to be generous with some of these samples, and also just we always try to get the best pricing and
Yeah.
availability for new items for people. So I kind of look at it as almost like it is sales, but it's not hard sales. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
We get to have conversations with people, see what what they're looking for distribution, and we just try to sell them stuff that's going to move, because
It
the
makes
last thing you
sense.
want
That's
to
why
the
that's
last
why
thing
you're
you
so
want to
good with people. I
yeah,
can tell,
well,
right?
I appreciate that. I definitely can talk. I'm people consider me a loud guy, but my biggest thing is I love to interact with people. I love to take care of people, and this job is kind of part of that. So it's been fun. Been doing this for a year, and then I worked for another snack company for 4 years before that. But as far as hobbies go, and just kind of my life, I'm married. Been married for three
Yeah.
years. I have a wonderful wife. Her name's Brooke. She supports me when it comes to just my regular job, and then also for the card stuff, which is funny because not all the ladies love it when their husbands do the sports cards and everything. But
How much real estate does that take up in the house, right? So like
yeah,
she's
well,
supportive of it.
it's part of the office, but no, yeah, it definitely takes up some space, and I'm always getting packages and stuff. It's there's always that side of it, but no, hobbies. I love movies. I'm a huge movie guy. If you see me in the streams, half the time you'll probably hear me quoting a movie. Um, I'm not gonna lie. Why I like to do the streams though is we just have fun on there. Like I don't know if you were in that stream. It was about 2 weeks ago. I think I cried because I was laughing so hard, and there's just times like that where we have fun, and it's kind of laid back. Obviously, it's great because you get to there's like it's like a little side hustle, but it's not even about that. It's almost kind of a place where I go and just get to have fun and just relax. So it's great. It's like they say, if you do something you love, you never work a day in your life. I mean,
That's right.
when it comes to this streaming stuff, I would do it every night if I had products. So it just
Yeah.
depends you know on that. But other hobbies, I love outdoor stuff. I know Seattle, where I'm at, it's pretty rainy half the time, but I love watching sports. I was a college baseball guy, so that's what I was kind of into. But now, I'm playing in a men's league, and I'm just trying not to tear a hamstring at this point. But
Okay. I remember you mentioned you have family out here, like not too far from me, right? Is that right? You came
yeah,
down here for
yeah.
something
You're in
recently?
Colorado, right?
No. I'm in LA. So, I remember you were coming out to
Oh,
LA for something, or like,
yeah. So
oh,
we
or
used to
yeah,
live in
yeah.
Colorado. Sorry, that's why I got
Okay.
confused there. But no, I have my parents have a place down in Palm Desert, and then
Palm
my
Desert.
mom's side of the family lives down there. So yeah, no, we're not too far from LA for part of the group. It's random. You're gonna laugh. You're gonna be like, I don't even know what that is. But have you ever heard of polo, like horse polo, where like
I
you were? Have you ever
I've
heard
heard
of
of the
that?
brand, the
Yeah,
clothing brand.
yeah. So exactly, that's exactly it. So
Then there's a
it's
horse and a guy on.
yeah, it's basically a sport that you play on horseback. My family has a horse ranch down in Thermal, California, which is Palm Desert, and so
Don't
yeah,
tell me
no,
they play that. Really?
yeah, they play it
That
like
sounds awesome. It sounds
it's
difficult.
it's yeah, it is. It's I don't think I could do it. I've tried. Riding horses is kind of I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of a scary deal. So I'm these days I just enjoy watching, but yeah, no, it's just crazy background. And my family is mainly from the Northwest though, so it's we've only been over here our whole lives basically. I went out to Colorado for college, but now we're back, and I think West Coast is probably where we're gonna settle down.
Eventually, how soon are kids coming? Because you said not yet.
Yeah, we've been married for 3 years, so it's on the horizon for sure. We're in a spot now where I think there's nothing holding us back, and I would say probably within the next year or so. So I'm the last Coop Group member to I'm the last domino to fall, but it'll be
Are
sooner than
you?
later.
Would you say both of you are on the same timetable? Like both of you are okay with the amount of time you've taken, or have you been ready, or has she been ready?
Um, you know, with us moving to Washington in the last year, I think timing wise, it was kind of perfect for not starting a family quite yet, just because now we're in a spot where we could see ourselves, being long term.
Hmm.
But no, I mean, I think we've both been ready. It's just we kind of had the mindset of there's no rush, but also, let's plan this out. So no, we're in a spot now where I think we're getting pretty close and we're comfortable.
That's awesome.
And yeah, no, I'm gonna have to really limit how much of the samples and stuff I let my kids have though, because I'm not gonna lie, I put on like the freshman 15 from working this job, so it's
okay.
yeah,
Yeah. No, I mean you've enjoyed 3 years already. Maybe another two. Being able to live just you two and Bentley. So it's enjoy that for sure because right, kids change the dynamic in good ways and then also in challenging ways for you guys to try to have your own time as well. But I'm glad to hear that you guys didn't just like move in and rush into having kids because that can oftentimes be a bit of a mistake.
right. No, and we we're that's why I'm very fortunate. My wife is, through the good and the bad, she's there for me, and I feel the same way for her. Like I do anything for her, and marriage is it is tough, man. It's like there's going to be sides of it that you never thought you'd have to think about. But I'm very fortunate to have the wife that I do. I love her more than anything. Hopefully, Brooke gets to see this video. But man, I'm telling you, this is awesome. I'm really glad I got to come on here and just be able to even chat with you because I've enjoyed the conversations, getting to know you a little bit better. I know I've talked a lot, but I promise.
That's the point. That's the point. I promise. I know you said you were gonna try to get me to talk more, but I told you I'm gonna have this organically be shifted towards you.
No,
And if you're good on time, I want to know. Like I love to hear when husbands talk so passionately and lovingly about their partners. So I'd love to know, like, how did you guys meet? What's that story like?
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I'll give you the long story short. So actually, I was playing junior college baseball here in Washington, so I was trying to figure out what was going to be the next step. I ended up being a walk on. I didn't get any scholarship money to go play at the University of Northern Colorado, and I was kind of worried, to be honest. I had no clue what to expect. I had never heard of the school before I even went to junior college. So I knew a coach that was out there, and he had been there for a few years. He said, "Hey, we have a couple spots open in the outfield. Just if you want a spot, we'll give you a guaranteed spot. Like we don't have money." So I was like, "Hey, this is great." So went out there, and I actually met my wife in my junior year, and the year I transferred there. Had a really fun season. Enjoyed playing with the guys. Senior year comes along, and I'm like, you know what, like. Been single for a little over a year now. I'm gonna try to get out of the friend zone with Brooke because I'd always kind of had my sights set on her. I just I was so focused on school and baseball and those things that I didn't really try to pursue anybody. Well, I'll never forget this. The first Sunday fun day, which was basically where all the different athletes, baseball, soccer, basketball, volleyball, everybody would show up to one house.
Okay.
I look across from like the backyard where everybody is. There's probably like 80 people back there, and I see Brooke, and she's looking great. She's intoxicated, but she had a box of Cheerios, like multi-grain Cheerios, and she was licking them, and she was putting them on her forehead. And I'm like, I looked at her, and I'm like, I'm gonna marry that girl. But so at that point, I was still kind of friend zoned. So I kind of asked her friends. I'm like, yo, like, I feel bad asking, but I feel like Brooke won't really give me the time of day. So, is there any chance you guys can help me out? And they're like, yeah, we'll try. We'll try. So a couple weeks go by, I get a call, and lo and behold, they're like, Evan, this is your one chance. We're going to have a wine night at our house. So bring some wine, just be casual, just have fun, and we'll see where this goes. So me and a few buddies, we go over there, and I brought in 2 like half gallons of pink Moscato, of course, just because I got to make sure to get wine for everybody. And oh my gosh, this is embarrassing. I don't think
I
I've
love
told any.
this story. I love this where the story is going.
Oh, you're gonna cringe when you hear this one. But so what ended up happening was her friend looks at me right after I crack open one of those half gallons of wine. I go to pour a little glass, and she says, "Hey, Evan," and I look at her, and she's like, "If you chug that whole bottle right now, Brooke will give you a kiss." And I didn't even hesitate. I chugged that entire thing right then and there. And I will never drink pink wine again because that was that hurt a little bit.
You were peeing pink for a few weeks.
Well, it just all the sugar and stuff. That
Oh
stuff
yeah,
is
I can
just
imagine.
it's god awful for you. And I'm not really a drinker at all. But in college, these are the college days. Well, she gave me a big fat kiss right after I did. I didn't spill a drop too, which I don't know how. But no, we ended up going on our first dinner date after that, and I always tried to just take care of her and be a gentleman because I knew I was just lucky to get the chance. So I'm glad she did. She had a really successful college soccer career. I got to finish up baseball there, and then before you know it, 2 years later we were married. So
wow,
I know,
man,
it's
so many questions crossing my mind, and especially just like the soccer thing, right? Like you just kind of glanced over that. But before we even go there, and you're good on time, I want to be mindful.
Yeah, you're good, man.
Okay, we'll go for like another 10, 15.
Yeah.
So when you see her, when you're saying I walked into this party, I look in the backyard, I'm thinking, straight out of a movie, super romantic, and then you're like, and she's licking Cheerios and putting them on her head, like that. That's pretty funny. How does she recall that moment? Does she have any,
Oh,
like memory of it, considering she was
yeah,
under
she
the
does.
influence?
Brooke remembers a moment from junior year a little bit more. And I'm gonna wait to have you probably ask her that one at some point. But no, she there's a couple of stories that we both have of like that where it's kind of embarrassing, but we just kind of that's what we love about each other is like we try to keep our marriage just fun and light and
Yeah,
make marriage the soundtrack or laughter the soundtrack of it. But no, she would recall that for sure. I think she remembers me, giving her a hard time about it too that night because it wasn't like I wasn't just watching. I just went up to her and I'd be like, "What are you doing?" But no, Brooke is the one thing about her, man, is that the part about marriage that I think I didn't realize at first. It's not about being perfect. It's just kind of being able to accept each other for why you're not perfect. And I'm still learning that right now, and I'm very very grateful that she's been patient with me. I want to make it so that she could just be a stay-at-home mom if she wants to be, and just do what she's got to do. And I want to be there every step of the way, right beside her. It is hard because man, living in Washington, I don't know about you, LA, I imagine it's the same thing, but man, it is living in some of these suburb areas outside of big cities. It's pretty expensive, man. It is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We just had a shock of our home insurance doubling just
Wow.
based off the fact that house prices have gone up, so it's more expensive to build houses now. The risk of fires, increase in burglary around like the surrounding areas, even though we have had like zero instances of that.
Wow.
And no, it's getting expensive for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and dual income's great, that's awesome. But my goal as a husband and just as her best friend, like I really do want to I want to make her life easy. I also want to make it fun. And I think us kind of starting a family, I could just totally see it, man. I just see us, doing all the sports practices, like even the little stuff, even before all that. For you, I mean, you having kids, it sounds like it's like the most rewarding thing in the world. Like
It is. It really is. And look, I was going to say, I know I answered that in more detail, but I was going to say it's going to be wonderful when your kids are old enough to come back and watch this because the way you're speaking about your wife, I think every wife would want a clip like this that has nothing to do with them, right? Just something completely, one off where they're able to come back and hear the way you genuinely speak about, your partner. I think this is going to be super dope for your kids to watch as well. But yeah, for me, kids were always in the cards. I've been with my wife for 14, 15 years now. We always knew we wanted kids, but we were also never the couple to be in a rush. Everyone's like, by year 5, when are you going to have kids? 6, 7, 8, right? And we're like, nope, we want our career set first, and then we'll worry about kids. Then once we had our career set, when are you going to have kids? Nope, we want to have our home first, so that we can have somewhere to have established, have that ready to go. And then we were finally able to do it. And most people didn't think that we would hold off that long, but we did. And I mentioned this on another episode, but we adopted our first, and then we had our second, and that all happened fairly quickly from like 2020 to 2023.
Wow,
And
man,
so
congrats. That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. So we have our 5-year-old, and then we have our 16-month old now. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's busy times, but I absolutely love it. And another thing you said, you're like, she's my best friend. I was like, so was my wife until my 5-year-old started calling me best friend, and the jealousy level shot off the roof, and no longer allowed to call mom best friend at all.
Right. No, I know, man. No, and well, I don't know actually. That's the thing. Like even just having the dog, like it's hard sometimes because you just that's the part of
Yeah.
relationships is when you're each other's entire world there for a bit, and then it becomes these other things. But I I like to think of it as I'm a part of Brooke's life. I want to make it better. I hope I'm in it for the rest of my days. And you know, as far as kind of these next chapters in life, I am looking forward to it. I'm also trying to just enjoy where my feet are at this moment. But man, no, it gets me excited whenever people talk about kids. And that's how I think I am ready is like, and I think we're ready is like, it doesn't make me worried. It just makes me think like, man, I need one of those. I want one of those. Like I
Yeah.
want,
I want my
uh,
101.
yep, that's right. I'm not gonna lie; it's gonna be pretty hard not to name my kid either Justin or Bruce, just because. No, I'm joking, but what she has the final say, of course. I think my father-in-law offered me 10 grand on naming Chris because that's his name. So I was
That's
like,
his name.
well,
Hey, not bad. There's a lot you can do with 10 grand.
no, yeah, but no, no, that I appreciate you sharing that. That's awesome, and that's cool to be able to hear that side of it. And no, it's true. There's always the side, the parts of it where it's not easy, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of growth and learning. But I'm all
And
for that, man.
I think this because of, the business that you're in, but communication is something that has been rooted and not, I would say, like, my wife would agree with this, is something that I heavily implemented into our relationship, because most couples, for the most part, think it's normal to have occasional, like, let's call it fights. And I say fights versus debates because it's okay to let's say, argue. And I'm like, I don't know that you ever actually need to argue if you're able to communicate. You could disagree, but I disagree that you don't, that it's okay to think arguing is like something that's just normal. I go, especially if you have good communication. I go, because when you see it that way, it's easy to quickly de-escalate any situation and be like, I understand why you're upset. Let me remind you, I would never do anything intentionally to upset you, right? And you understand that, right, Brooke? Do you believe that I would ever intentionally mean to do what just upsets you? No. Okay, so now I apologize because that was, like, I didn't see that was an overstep, whatever it was, right? You communicate. It may still take her half an hour of the day for her to like decompress and let it out, but at least she leaves knowing that you guys had that conversation already. It's good communication, and you never go to sleep upset at each other.
No, yeah,
Um,
man, that's true. And if there's anything that I can tell the young guys out there about getting married, it's just be all in and
mhm.
like
You
truly
can't
just
have, yeah, you can't be 50 in, 50 out,
yeah,
right?
no, be
Yeah,
all in and just make sure like when you get when you do things for your wife, like I really found out quickly, like acts of service, there's these different, love language type things that we all have, and just find out what it is and just, do the best you can. For Brooke, when I first met her, I did not even think that, doing little things like stuff around the house and little things like that was
that
what
they
she loves.
matter.
And yeah, now it's at the point where it's like, I'm feeling good about them. I'm starting to feel good. And by no means do I have anything perfected, but it's a good feeling to have kind of that learning experience. And yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
good. Marriage scares some people. I promise you, you find the right woman who's going to be there for you through thick and thin. It's a no brainer, man.
yeah. Aiming to be a better you is the goal, not perfection.
Right.
And yeah, it's the little things that count. And I don't know if you would agree with this, but even men are the same way. My wife's like, it's funny. She goes, "You genuinely thanked me the other day for dropping off some of the packages, and it was from like Whatnot, some packages that we needed to drop off." She goes, "Without telling you." She goes, "You text me and you're like, 'Hey babe, thanks for sending that. Love you." Da da da. She goes, "But when I left you lunch or dinner. She was like, like it was just like a normal thing. And I was like, yeah, because I was like, I was rushing, I was ready to go drop it off. I go, and it was already like done. So I was like, oh, that's really nice of her, so little things like that, right? And so at the same time, I know, right, like I go out of my way to do the small things. And even if they become routine, then I find other things that are new as well, right? Like at this point, I'm always washing dishes as well, just because I know it helps, right? Like with the little one running around, I'm just like, I know that that's like something that it's like a big weight off her shoulders when she walks into the kitchen and she's like, yes, no dishes.
Yep. No, dude, you're awesome. She's lucky to have you, and it sounds like you're lucky to have her. That's awesome. Also, with you adopting a child, was the process like for that? Was it a long process or not too bad?
Man, it was. If you have time, I'll tell you the story. I haven't went into the detail of it, and I don't mind sharing it. I just again don't want to hold you back too much.
No, I hear. Yeah, I got like for sure. Like just I want to hear this.
I love it. Okay, so pandemic hit. So actually, January 2020, where we had went into that year saying, all right, we're gonna have our first kid, and then as we were like, well, when do you? She was really big on like, I want our baby to have a birthday around here, so let's wait until like this time, right? I was like, all right, fine, that's fine, we'll do that. And then the pandemic hits, and so then we're like, well, I was like, that kind of puts a pause on us wanting to have a child, because around that time you're hearing about mothers in labor where the husband can't be in the room, not even allowed into the hospital. A lot of like that moment was when you just didn't really know where the world was going at that point. So we're like, let's just put a pause to it. And I remember vividly having that conversation on a Friday night. And then on Saturday, we go visit my in-laws. And my mother-in-law is a child care worker at a daycare center, right? Uh-huh. And so she's telling us about a story of a little girl at the daycare who is no longer going to be going to the daycare because she's going to be put into the foster system because her biological aunt no longer can continue to raise her because she has kids of her own, and it's just like a big challenge. And so she's telling us the story, and we're like, man, that's sad, And she goes, and yeah, she's like, the owner of the daycare is really sad as well because we've had her there for a little over 8 months now, and like she's so adorable. And I was like, do you have a picture of her? And so she shows me a picture, and something about it was just like spoke to me. And so we had always spoken about adoption, but it was always baby number 2, right? And so I saw that. I was like, oh, she's adorable. Didn't say anything. On the way home, I told my wife, I was like she's talking about something completely different. And I'm like, babe, what do you think about adopting London? And then she's like, what? She goes, stop, stop playing around. I go, no, I'm serious. I was like, I was just thinking about it more. I was like, just yesterday we talked about how we're going to have to put a pause on having our first child. I was like, here's a child that, we always knew we wanted to adopt. This is a child in need. We could, impact her life. She can impact ours in positive ways. I was like, let's, what's the harm in it? Let's at least get to know her. So she was all for it. We went down that journey, and from that point forward, we knew it was going to be a done process. But because if you know anything about the adoption process, it's not like a meat market where you go in and you're like, I want that one, right? Like it's either you adopt privately, and that's when you do select who you want, right? Or you do a foster license, and then they'll call you up and they'll say, hey, we have a kit that fits the what you're open to, and it's pretty wide. It'll be male, female, this age group or this age group, open to certain things, not open to certain things, and that's how they'll call you. And it's really wide, and it's super sudden. Hey, a kid was just born, the mom's gonna give him up. Can you nurse a newborn, right? It's very like that. And so we thought that we can go through the foster process to eventually adopt her. And we found out after a few months that they're like, no, you can't just hand select who you want. So we needed to jump through some obstacles to eventually get to private adopter. But that happened after a course of 2.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, man. Well, You guys did it.
Yeah. It was never a doubt. And, it was always, I'm a true to the name of the show, doer, right? It's one thing that I've been meaning to plug in more, but I'm just a doer at heart, right? Like I find I'm going to get shit done that I say I'm going to get done. And so there was never a doubt that we would find a way to do it. It was just like, if that's not the route, what's the solution? And let's go to that, right? And so that's kind of the concept of the name and just kind of how I live my life. But yeah, so we adopted her 2.5 years later legally. But throughout those 2.5 years, she was already staying with us for a good amount of time, a week. And then it became full time before we adopted her. And so, yeah, we got to see her grow up since she was 16 months till now. Right. And yeah, it's been a blessing. And then once that happened, we're like, all right, ready for number 2. So then we went ahead and had our second, and we had a boy. His name's AJ. And so now we have our 2, and we're set. It's a lot of work, but it couldn't have worked out any better.
Oh man, absolutely. Well, first of all, congratulations. Second of all, man, you're old. Well, I was going to say your oldest now. She's super fortunate. I mean, the father she has now, and I'm sure your wife. Again, I haven't met her, but just from this short hour and a half, I mean, this has flown by, man. I really appreciate this. And,
it happens.
This is the kind of stuff that makes me like excited about meeting more people in this community. I actually, to be honest with you, Alex, the first time I remember seeing your username was around kind of that immaculate time. So, we haven't known each other really.
Not at all.
Yeah, not at all. And then we've probably like even been familiar with each other for a few months. So it goes to show the power of just like what we're doing here. And I appreciate you just kind of putting all this together, because this is awesome. I'm going to definitely tune in for, these future shows.
I love it. All right, Evan. Well, we can cut it there. We'll have a part 2 at some point, I'm sure, because I want to stay in touch. We'll get in touch as well so that we can divvy out how we pass these cards out.
Yes.
There's a lot of good hits, so we'll make sure to, distribute that accordingly. But folks, if you enjoyed this, you know what to do. Please subscribe, follow across all social handles for both of us. Until next time, this has been Doers Taking Breaks. Peace out.